welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to Conahey Rail. So I'm excited to announce another Conahey Rail major update. So this will probably be, I'm hoping, I don't know, who knows, the last Conahey Rail update I'll have to make, at least as far as track. So if you watched my past video I made about Conahey track, you'll see I unboxed some Conahey track. Here we go here. So Conahey Rail uses exclusively Conahey track, including switches. Although there'll be people who will comment and tell you, you know, buy the raw switches instead of the Conahey switches. Raw switches are a lot better, but they also cost a lot more. So I'm able to buy almost 2 Conahey switches for the price of one Ross. I can tell you that the Conahey 100 switches are pretty good. I've used them for 5 years and had no troubles with them. Conahey do have switches, however, that can be troublesome. But that's not what this video is for. So, I like Conahey track. So what I'm doing, and I'll show everybody, is I'm updating from 072 on the outside loop to 080. That is the plan. Not sure how this is going to go, though. I know I was a guest on GFW Fast Fridays, and George was looking at my layout, and he was like, that looks like it's going to be kind of tight to put 080 in there. Well, when I did my expansion from 054 to 072, I actually overbuilt everything in case I changed my mind to go to 080 on the outside loop and 072 on the inside. So this way I'll be able to run any train I want anywhere on the layout. That's like a hope and a dream for me on Conahey Rail to have that. And I just want to get away from 054. If you want to do high rail, do yourself a favor. Just put in 072 right from the get-go. If anybody's watched my past videos in the last 2 or 3 years, when I decided to make Conahey Rail into a high rail layout, I went 054, which is kind of tight for high rail. High rail, you should really start out at 072. Some people have 063. And the reason for that is, as far as diesel locomotives, any scaled diesel locomotive won't run on anything smaller than 054 as far as being Lionel. So if it's a Lionel Legacy, it will not run on anything less than 054. Now, some of the Lionel TMCC diesel locomotives will run on smaller diameter tracks, such as 042. And that's because they have blind drivers on the back of their trucks on some of the TMCC diesel locomotives. But as far as the legacy stuff, the legacy diesels, you're not going to find legacy diesel that will run on anything less than 054. So with that being said, you know, I went legacy diesel 12-wheel drive locomotives, so I updated my track to 054. And built and expanded, and then I went to a club meet, the North Penn O-Gaugers. They invited me for their Run for Fun event, and they said I could bring a locomotive to run, which I did. I forget what I brought. I think I brought my GP30, or yeah, I think I brought my GP30 at the time, my Conrail GP30. And the guy at the time was like, "Oh, I know, just wait." His name's Harry Henning, North Penn O-Gaugers. He's like, "Hey, I know just the cars for that." And he whips out these 86-foot box cars. And I run them. And I fell in love with them instantly. And then Lionel came out with the big blue Conrail set, which had them 86-foot box cars. And I read the description on them. and said on the box cars that they could negotiate an 054 curve. So I bought, I don't know, I bought a whole bunch of them before I ran the train, which was a big mistake. And the first time I went to run that train, it derailed. And I kept having derailments after derailments after derailments. And I found out why, and it was because the way the kinetic couplers were designed, if there's any slack in the train at all, if there's any motion this way as it was in a curve, the kinetic coupler plate, and I'll go over that in another video, would come out too far and then fetch up, and then you have to flip the car upside down and put it back in again. So then that's when I realized that no, these cars are not made for 054, not a string of them. Maybe one or two you might get away with, but not an entire unit train. So I went through a major rebuild in 2019. I took a week's off vacation and just went through a major rebuild to go dual mainline in 072 of my layout so I could run that particular train. So let's take a look at and see what we're doing here so I don't bore you guys to death. So I'm going to call this my summertime update, or Conahey Rail summer updates. Whenever you see Conahey Rail summer update part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or week 1, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. But at any rate, so here's, you'll see that we have dual mainline, and the outside loop is 072. The inside, you'll see, splits off right here, goes around what I call a horseshoe curve. That's 054. And 054 is just really too tight for me. I like to run long trains, multiple locomotives, and 054 just isn't working out for me. Especially if I want to switch into these yards, because you'll notice I have a yard for the granary. I'll probably buy another granary to go with it. And then I have a yard for the warehouses, for the box cars to go into. The granary yard, that's for the center flow hoppers. Eventually I'm going to have a Menards American Materials building here so I can load up cylinder hoppers. But switching into yards off of 054 curves is not fun, it's not easy, and the train does derail doing it if it's too long. So the longer the train, the wider the curves you're going to want. So if you want to run a 3, 4, 6 car train, and that's happy enough for you, then you won't need, big curves like that. But when you're trying to run trains that are 18 cars, 20 cars, and then switch off on them, you better think about getting some wide curves to do that. But anyway, that's the plan. So I'm going to take, this is 072. I'm going to take 072 out, put 080 here, take the 054 out, and put in 072. Of course, if you look over here, 072 will never make it over there. So the next plan is, to make all this work, I'm going to have to rebuild the bridge, or build a new bridge, the lift-out bridge that you guys see me built before. So the plan is to have a dual track lift-out bridge. Woohoo! Yay! That sounds like fun to build. But anyway, the things that I do to myself. But it's all in fun, I guess. Alright, so what am I going to do with the horseshoe curve? I'm actually considering a trolley line. So that's, and I wish there was a nice prototypical 2-dimension O-scale trolley. If anybody has any kind of branding that would have something like that, but right now I guess I'm looking at MTH because they have a New Jersey, they made a New Jersey Transit and a SEPTA trolley. So I might get one or both of them later on in life, but who knows? Maybe I'll find out that somebody else made a more prototypical looking trolley. Anywho, the plan is to possibly take out the UPS facility and put in a trolley station there. A modern day one like SEPTA SEPTA or New Jersey Transit. And then it will come out of there and then go around the horseshoe curve, because trolleys can, and then come around and then stop here, and then put in like a little trolley station, and then the train station will be for passenger trains. So that's part of the plan. But you know how plans go. They look good on paper, and then later on it's like, why am I doing this? Also, part of the summer update is I ordered 2 switches with the donation that was sent to Dakman Productions. So I ordered 2 left switches so we can get from main 2 to main 1, so I can switch off at Crystal Ice House with the GP30. Alright, so there's the Conahey Rail summertime update. Yay! So we are behind the scenes here in the workshop. This is the last room that the train goes through. This is the room that people normally don't get to see on camera. And the reason why I'm showing you this room is because this is where I'm going to start first with my updating my curved track. So, because it's going to be the easiest thing to do. There's no ballast, no nothing. It'll be easy to swap it out and be done with it. So that's where I'm going to start at first. Okay, George from GFW had concerns that it looks like I didn't have enough room for everything. So let's take a look here. So that'll go here. You know, it's always helpful to lay your track out and see how things are going to go here. It kind of gives you an idea if you do this first. So always lay your track out. I don't know if you guys see what I'm doing, but not in too many sections because you don't want to make it too long and bend the track. That's about as long as I'm going to make it. And then this will come around. I'm getting in front of the camera, yay. I'm going to come around here. Smokes. Alright, so what I want to do here. And sometimes you just gotta figure things out. Alright, so that will line up right there. I think he might be right. Wow. Yeah. Let's change the Yep, George might be right. I might have to add a little bit to the front of this. You can see how much of a cut I have to take with an 080. Alright, let me show you guys what I'm working with here. So I put together some 080, and you can see it laying on top of here. So yeah, he's right. It's going to be tight. So there's going to be a lot of major changes on Conahey Rail coming up. I can see that now. Well, it's definitely going to be interesting. Alright, well, it is what it is at this point. I'm already into it. So, whatever changes I have to make, whatever additions I make, has to be so. Alright, so stay tuned to see how this all works out. Alright, so the plan is to try and keep these update videos as I progress in half-hour increments or less. Yeah, I'm going to worry about that front part till the very end. Because I know there's enough room, there's plenty of room in here for 080 to go in here, so I'm not worried too much about that. This will be easy, and there's no ballast, like I said. So let me get to work on this and do all this, and we'll come back to you. Alright, so we're back in the workshop here. Got all the track ripped up, outside loop, inside loop. And now we're ready to figure out how this 080 and 072 is going to work on the inside of this shop area. And like I said, I'm thinking I'll be fine. This area is more than big enough. There's no buildings. There's nothing in the way. So I'm thinking this is going to be the easy part. So we'll see how that goes. We'll line everything up. Hello everybody, we're back, and I just finished changing out the track. As you've seen, I took out the 072, the 054 all at the same time. And so yeah, I put the 080 in place of the 072, and then the 054 in place, or the 072 in place of the 054. So let's take a look and see how that looks now. I'm quite happy with this. So as you can see, it's made a drastic change. So now you got a nice sweeping loop around. Nice big sweeping loop for them big long trains that I like to run, you know. So having big curves not only accommodates the bigger locomotives and the locomotives that don't have flanged wheels, or non-flanged wheels, I mean, such as the Lionel Legacy. Not only does it accommodate them, but gotta remember, even if you're not considering getting Lionel Legacy or a steam locomotive, you still have the length of the train to contend with. So if you want to run an 8-car train, that's fine. I mean, 054 will do good all day long. But at the end of the day, if you want to run a 20-plus car train and a couple locomotives, you're going to have problems here and there on 054. Things start to happen, such as what they call string lining the train in a curve. That means that the train, instead of going around the curve, has a tendency to pull off. That's what string line means. And this can happen no matter how you balance the cars out. I'm sure people say, oh, you just put the heavy ones up front and light ones in the back and you'll be fine. No, not after a certain length, I found out. The Lionel 21-inch passenger cars do not like anything under 072. Well, they negotiate and run on 063 and 054, yeah, but they do not like it. You're, depending on how your layout design and stuff, you could stringline them too. So, in the end, my recommendations is if you want to do scale trains, just jump right into 072. Forget anything underneath that. Even 063 sometimes isn't good enough. And I've seen that on, a couple of YouTube channels. So just do yourself a favor, go 072 and up. If you don't have the room for 072 and up, don't dedicate yourself to being high rail or running scale trains. Go semi-scale and have at it. Some of the MTH Premier stuff isn't to true scale anyway, like their auto racks and our passenger cars are really too short, and they're made to go around 042 anyway. But when you get into true scale trains, such as the Lionel auto rack, which is true scale, and the Lionel 21-inch passenger true scale cars, that's when you run into problems if you want to try and run on anything under 72. So I am really happy, I'm stoked, and what a difference this is. You can see instantly the difference between, when there was 072 and 054, now we're at 080 and 072. So we got a nice long sweep for that long train. I don't have to worry about streamlining. And also, laying track is the easy part. You have to make sure it's level. You can use shims. There's nothing wrong with it. People, I've found out using cardboard for shims if your woodwork isn't even. Because, you're not going to see the cardboard shims once you put your ballast in here. Because, like, if I was to ballast this, you would never know there would be cardboard underneath of the track shimming it. And, plywood, no matter how you build your table work, has a tendency to warp anyway. So, throughout the drying stages of the plywood, depending on how long ago it was made when you bought it, but it'll dip, it'll warp a little bit and change, and then you'll have to go back and shim your track up. So, yeah. Alright, so that's this weekend's update. Not sure how much time we have into it. Like I said, I'm trying to keep these half hour or less, these updates. And so we'll work on something else next weekend. Until then, thanks for watching Dakman Productions, and thanks for watching the Conahey Rail update.